The anniversary dinner was supposed to be perfect. 24 hours of planning, reservations at Romano's, the kind of place where they polish the silverware twice and charge $30 for pasta. I sat across from Cleo, watching her fidget with her wedding ring while stealing glances at the table behind me. "You seem distracted tonight," I said, cutting into my overpriced steak. Cleo's laugh came out forced. "Just tired from work. You know how demanding Trent can be." Trent Ardell, her boss. The guy currently sitting 3 tables away with his wife Meira, pretending he wasn't watching my wife like a hawk watches a mouse. I'm Soren Valden, facilities manager at Pinnacle Tech. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and gives me access to things most people don't notice. Security footage, employee records, building access logs. Amazing what you can piece together when you know where to look. "Speaking of Trent," I said, raising my wine glass, "maybe we should invite them over. Celebrate together." Cleo's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. That would be awkward. Work and personal life, you know?" I knew all right. I knew about the hotel receipts charged to Trent's corporate card. I knew about the late-night text messages Cleo thought she'd hidden. I knew about the afternoon meetings that weren't on any company calendar. The restaurant buzzed with quiet conversation and clinking glasses. Romano's attracted the kind of crowd that loved drama as much as they loved their wine pairings. Perfect audience for what was coming. "Actually," I said, standing up, "I think I'll go say hello myself." Cleo grabbed my wrist. "Soren, please don't." Her grip was desperate, guilty. I'd seen that look before, 3 weeks ago when I started putting the pieces together. I walked over to Trent's table. He was everything I wasn't. Tall, gym-built, expensive suit that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Meira sat beside him, elegant and composed, her dark eyes calculating. "Evening, Trent. Meira." I extended my hand. "Soren Valden, we met at the company picnic." Trent's handshake was firm, competitive. "Of course. How's the anniversary dinner going?" "Interesting. Very revealing." I glanced back at Cleo, who looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. "Actually, Meira, I was hoping we could chat sometime. About mutual interests." Meira's eyebrow arched slightly. "I'd like that very much." Trent shifted uncomfortably. Smart man. He sensed the undercurrent but couldn't quite place it. I returned to my table, where Cleo sat rigid with anxiety. "What did you say to them?" she whispered. "Just being friendly." I raised my glass again. To anniversaries, and to truth. The toast hung in the air like a challenge. Cleo barely touched her wine to mine. 20 minutes later, as we were finishing dessert, Meira Ardell walked over to our table. She moved with purpose, a manila envelope in her hand. "Cleo. Soren." Her voice was steady, controlled. "I hope you don't mind the interruption." Cleo's face went pale. "Meira, what are you doing here?" Meira smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Delivering something that belongs to my husband. Well, soon-to-be ex-husband." She placed the envelope on the table. The restaurant's ambient noise seemed to fade as nearby diners sensed drama brewing. "Divorce papers," Meira announced, loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. "Along with some interesting financial records, corporate expense reports, hotel receipts, text message logs." Trent appeared beside his wife, his face flushed. "Meira, not here, please." "Oh, but here is perfect," she said. "Public. Witnesses, just like those afternoon meetings at the Marriott." The neighboring tables had gone completely quiet. This was better than dinner theater. Cleo tried to speak, but only a strangled sound came out. "You see," Meira continued, her voice carrying across the now silent dining room, "when your husband starts charging hotel rooms to the company card, it raises questions. Especially when those charges coincide with his employees' mysterious afternoon appointments." I sat back, watching the show unfold exactly as planned. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been a clueless husband, the kind who believed his wife when she said she was working late, who didn't question the new clothes, the sudden interest in fitness, the way she guarded her phone like state secrets. The wake-up call came from an unexpected source. Derek Martinez, my old college roommate who now ran private security for corporate clients. "Soren, we need to talk," he'd said over coffee. "It's about Cleo." Derek had been hired to investigate financial irregularities at Pinnacle Tech. Nothing major, just expense account audits. But patterns emerged. Patterns that included my wife's name alongside Trent Ardell's on multiple occasions. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, even a weekend conference in Miami that she never mentioned to you, Derek explained. "I'm sorry, man. I had to tell you." The evidence was circumstantial but damning. I could have confronted Cleo directly, demanded explanations, played the hurt husband. Instead, I decided to get creative. My job at Pinnacle gave me legitimate access to building security footage, employee schedules, and corporate communications. Nothing illegal, just information that was already there if you knew how to look. I started documenting everything. Timestamps of when Cleo left the office with Trent, security footage of them entering and leaving the parking garage together, credit card statements that Cleo thought she'd hidden. But the real breakthrough came when I reached out to Meira Ardell. "I think we should meet," I'd texted her, using a number Derek had provided. "We have more in common than you might think." Meira was nothing like I'd expected. Cool, intelligent, and far from the naive wife I'd imagined. She'd been gathering her own evidence for months. "I hired a private investigator," she told me during our first meeting at a coffee shop across town. "Trent's been doing this for years. Different women, same pattern. Company resources, company time, company money. We formed an unlikely alliance." Meira had the financial records and legal expertise. She was a lawyer herself, specializing in corporate fraud. I had access to the day-to-day evidence and a burning desire to make them both pay. "Public humiliation," Meira had suggested. "Hit them where it hurts most, their reputations, their careers, their social standing." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Meira would file for divorce and report the financial irregularities to Pinnacle's board. I would ensure maximum exposure, turning their private betrayal into public spectacle. Now, sitting in Romano's with half the restaurant watching Cleo squirm, I felt a cold satisfaction. This was just the opening act. Trent tried to salvage the situation. "This is a private matter. We should discuss it elsewhere." "Private?" Meira's laugh was sharp. "Like those private meetings in hotel rooms? Like the private use of company funds? Like the private lies you've been telling for months?" She opened the envelope and spread several documents across our table. Bank statements, credit card receipts, printed text messages. The evidence of their affair laid out like a prosecutor's case. "Cleo," I said quietly, "anything you'd like to add to this conversation?" My wife looked trapped, cornered. Her eyes darted between me, Meira, and Trent, searching for an escape that didn't exist. "It's not what you think," she finally whispered. "Really? Because I think it's exactly what it looks like." I picked up one of the hotel receipts. "The Marriott Tuesday afternoon, the Hilton last Thursday. Should I continue?" The restaurant manager appeared, clearly uncomfortable with the drama unfolding in his establishment. "Perhaps we could—" "We're just finishing up," Meira said smoothly. She gathered her papers and stood. "Trent, you'll be hearing from my attorney tomorrow. Cleo, I hope the promotion was worth it." She walked away, leaving chaos in her wake. Trent followed, his face a mask of barely controlled panic. The other diners pretended to return to their meals, but I could feel their eyes on us. Cleo sat frozen, her anniversary dinner forgotten. "We should go," I said, standing and dropping cash on the table. Wouldn't want to cause more of a scene. The ride home was silent, except for Cleo's occasional sniffles. I drove carefully, methodically, the way I'd planned everything else. No rushing, no emotion, just cold calculation. Our house looked the same as always, suburban perfection with its manicured lawn and two-car garage, but walking through the front door felt different now. The pretense was over. "Soren, please," Cleo said as I headed for the stairs. "Let me explain." I paused on the bottom step. "Explain what? The lies? The hotel rooms? The way you've been playing me for a fool? It wasn't supposed to happen. It started as work dinners, then you decided to upgrade from dinner to dessert?" She flinched at my tone. Good. I wanted her to feel uncomfortable. "I never meant to hurt you. But you did it anyway." I turned to face her. For months, every time you came home late, every time you claimed to be working weekends, every time you looked me in the eye and lied. Cleo collapsed onto the couch, finally letting the tears flow. "What happens now?" "Now? Now you face the consequences." The next morning, I went to work as usual. Pinnacle Tech buzzed with gossip. Word of last night's restaurant drama had already spread through the company grapevine. I kept my head down, did my job, and waited. Around 10 a.m., Derek called. "Phase 2 is in motion. Meira filed the divorce papers and the corporate fraud complaint this morning. Trent's being called into HR as we speak." I watched through the facility's office window as Trent hurried past, his usual confidence replaced by barely concealed panic. 20 minutes later, Cleo rushed by in the opposite direction, probably summoned to answer questions about the expense account irregularities. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Meet me in the lobby, now. T." Trent Ardell wanted a confrontation. Perfect. I found him pacing near the security desk, his expensive suit wrinkled, his hair disheveled. The confident executive from last night had been replaced by a desperate man watching his world collapse. "You orchestrated this," he said when he saw me. "You and my wife." "I documented it. There's a difference." I kept my voice level, professional. "You and Cleo created the situation. We just brought it to light. You have no idea what you're messing with." Trent stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his size. "I can make your life very difficult." More difficult than having an unfaithful wife? I doubt it. Other employees had started to notice our conversation. Good. Witnesses were part of the plan. "This isn't over," Trent said, his voice rising. "You think you're clever, but you have no idea who you're dealing with." "I know exactly who I'm dealing with," I replied calmly. "A man who used company resources to conduct an affair. A man whose wife just filed for divorce, citing financial fraud. A man whose career is about to implode." Trent's face flushed red. He grabbed my shirt, pulling me closer. "You smug little... Is there a problem here?" Derek appeared beside us, his security badge prominently displayed. "Mr. Ardell, I think you should step back." The lobby had gone quiet, everyone watching the drama unfold. Trent realized he was making a spectacle of himself and released me, but the damage was done. His loss of control, witnessed by dozens of employees, would be all over the office within minutes. "This isn't finished," he muttered, straightening his tie. "Actually, it is," I said. "Your wife made sure of that." As Trent stalked away, I felt a grim satisfaction. The public humiliation was working exactly as planned. That afternoon, Meira called with unexpected news. "We have a problem," she said. Or rather, they do. I met her at the same coffee shop where we'd first planned our revenge. She looked pleased, like a cat who'd caught multiple mice. "My investigator found something interesting," she began, sliding a folder across the table. "Cleo wasn't just having an affair with Trent. I opened the folder to find photographs, credit card statements, and phone records. The evidence showed Cleo meeting with another man, someone I recognized from Pinnacle's executive team. "Marcus Webb," Meira said. "Trent's business partner. Apparently your wife has been quite busy." The photographs were damning. Cleo entering a downtown apartment building with Webb. The two of them at restaurants across town, clearly intimate. Hotel receipts showing charges to Webb's personal card on dates when she'd told me she was working late. "She played them against each other," I said, studying the timeline. "Used her relationship with Trent to get closer to Webb. And Webb used his relationship with her to gather information about Trent's business dealings. Corporate espionage with a romantic twist." I felt a strange mix of anger and admiration. Cleo had been more calculating than I'd given her credit for. "Does Trent know?" Meira smiled. "He does now. I sent him the evidence an hour ago." My phone rang. Trent's name appeared on the screen. "Answer it," Meira suggested. "Put it on speaker." I accepted the call. Trent's voice was barely controlled rage. "You knew, didn't you, about Webb?" "I'm learning all sorts of interesting things today," I replied. "She used me. Used both of us." Trent's voice cracked. I thought she cared about me." "Welcome to the club," I said without sympathy. "I want to meet, tonight, all of us. You, me, Cleo, Webb, even Meira. End this properly." I looked at Meira, who nodded. "Where?" I asked. "Riverside Park, the amphitheater. 8 o'clock. Time to settle this once and for all." The line went quiet. I hung up and turned to Meira. "Think he'll show?" "Oh, he'll show. And so will Webb. Men like them can't resist a confrontation when their egos are bruised." "What about Cleo?" "Leave that to me," Meira said. "I have a feeling she'll be very motivated to attend." Riverside Park's amphitheater was built for summer concerts and community events. On this cool evening, it provided the perfect stage for our final confrontation. The open-air design meant everything would be visible, audible, and very public. I arrived first, choosing a spot near the center of the space. Derek positioned himself nearby, officially providing security, but really there to ensure things didn't get out of hand. Meira appeared next, looking composed and professional despite the circumstances. She'd brought a briefcase, more evidence, I assumed. Trent arrived with Webb, both men looking haggard and angry. They'd clearly been arguing on the way over. Finally, Cleo appeared, walking slowly down the amphitheater steps. She looked terrible. Red eyes, wrinkled clothes, the confident woman I'd married replaced by someone broken and desperate. "Well," I said as they all gathered around me, "isn't this cozy?" "Cut the sarcasm," Trent snapped. "You wanted to destroy us? Congratulations. You succeeded." "I didn't destroy anything," I replied. "I just revealed what was already there." Webb spoke for the first time. "This is insane. We're all adults here. People have affairs. It happens." "People also commit corporate fraud," Meira said, opening her briefcase. "They manipulate stock prices, steal trade secrets, and use company resources for personal gain." She began spreading documents across the amphitheater's stone seating. Financial records, email printouts, phone logs, evidence of a conspiracy that went far beyond simple adultery. "Cleo wasn't just having affairs," Meira continued. "She was gathering information, trade secrets from Trent, financial data from Webb, insider knowledge that someone could use to manipulate Pinnacle's stock price." Cleo finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "It wasn't supposed to go this far." "Then how far was it supposed to go?" I asked. "Were you planning to leave me? Take half of everything and disappear with your corporate spy ring?" "I never wanted to hurt you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But you did it anyway, for months. While I worked to support us, to build a life together, you were planning to tear it all down." Trent turned on Webb. "You knew, didn't you? You knew she was playing us against each other." "I knew you were an arrogant fool," Webb shot back. "I knew she was smart enough to see it too. Smart enough to manipulate both of you. I corrected. Smart enough to steal from the company you both claim to care about. The confrontation was attracting attention. Evening joggers slowed to watch. Dog walkers lingered nearby, drawn by the drama unfolding in the public space. "This ends now," Trent said, stepping toward me. "All of it." "You're right," I agreed. "It does end now, with all of you facing the consequences of your choices." Meira stood, her briefcase closed. "The SEC will receive copies of all financial irregularities tomorrow morning. The divorce papers are already filed, and Pinnacle's board will have a full report on the corporate espionage by end of business." Cleo looked around desperately, searching for an ally who didn't exist. "Soren, please, we can work this out. Go to counseling, start over." "Start over?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "With someone who lied to me every day for months? Someone who stole corporate secrets and committed fraud? I don't think so." Webb tried one last desperate play. "You can't prove any of this. It's all circumstantial." "Actually," Derek said, speaking up for the first time, "we can prove all of it. Security footage, financial records, recorded phone calls, everything obtained legally through corporate investigation procedures." The fight went out of them all at once. Trent slumped onto the stone seating, his head in his hands. Webb stared at the evidence spread around us, finally understanding the scope of what they'd done. Cleo just stood there, tears falling silently. "I loved you," she whispered to me. "No," I said, standing to leave. "You loved what I represented: stability, security, someone to fall back on while you played your games." I walked toward the amphitheater exit, Meira beside me. Behind us, the three conspirators sat among the scattered evidence of their betrayal, their schemes exposed under the evening sky. "Think they learned anything?" Meira asked as we reached the parking lot. "I doubt it. People like that never do. What about you? Any regrets?" I considered the question as we walked to our cars. The marriage was over. My life would have to be rebuilt, and the woman I'd trusted had turned out to be a stranger. "No regrets," I said finally. "They wanted to play games in the shadows. I just turned on the lights." Meira smiled and extended her hand. "It's been a pleasure working with you, Soren." "Likewise. Good luck with the divorce." "Good luck with everything." I drove home through the quiet streets, past the life I'd thought I understood. Tomorrow would bring lawyers, paperwork, and the messy business of untangling a marriage built on lies. But tonight, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: peace. The truth was finally out, and I was finally free.